If you've ever been to Florence, you know what I'm talking about. This place is a bit of chaos. Buses, cars on an elevated highway, pedestrians trying not to get squeezed by the trams, and it feels like the city somehow forgot that this is designed for humans. Welcome, this is Florence, one of the worst examples of urban planning in Prague. But here's the twist. That's about to change, because right over there on the brownfield, Prague is building entire new neighborhood, a 20 billion crowns project, which is about 800 million euros, with housing, offices, shops, public squares, and 6 new city blocks. Construction starts 2028 and is due to finish 2031, and when it's done, this area will look completely different. Today, I'll show you what's happening here, why it is happening, and what the controversies are about. Importantly, how this affects you, whether you live, work, or invest nearby. If you're in Karlín, Nové Město, Žižkov, this project will change your neighborhood, whether you like it or not. So let's get into it. Florence wasn't always like this, and honestly didn't have to end up this way. The name Florence came from Italian merchants who came from, surprisingly, Florence and traded here centuries ago. And it used to be a busy commercial area where people actually wanted to spend time. Then came communist-era urban planning in its finest in 70s and 80s. Prague prioritized cars and buses over people. That's when they built the Severojižní magistrála, a massive elevated highway cutting the city in half, and they placed it right here, creating a physical barrier between Karlín and Nové Město. Then they built the central bus station, U1, Florence, ústřední autobusové nádraží, in the middle of what could have been a green space. We needed a bus station, absolutely, but putting it right here in most of the valuable parts of Prague, well, the planning decision, that still has consequences until today. The project is called Florence 21, and it's led by Penta Real Estate in cooperation with the city of Prague, Prague 1, Prague 8, and the goal is to simply turn this into not a dividing space and actually connect the whole neighborhood with one and the other part. Here is the scale, 108,000 square meters across 6 blocks, roughly 55% of housing, 20% offices, 20% retail and services, and 5% of hotel space. Total investment is around 20 billion Czech crowns, and the construction is planned within 2028 to 2031. Architecturally, this won't be one massive uniformous project. 15 different firms from across Europe are involved, selected through international competitions. And the idea is to create diversity, not uniform block. The key change? 2 new pedestrian streets, reconnecting Nové Město, Karlín and Žižkov, plus real public squares and the ground-level retail. In short, building for people, not for cars. Right now, the bus station is in a place where one of the future office building is going to be. So the obvious question is, where will the bus station and the buses be moved? Prague authorities are considering 3 options, with decision expected this year, 2026. Option 1, build the station underground and the offices above it. Expensive and complex, but it will keep the hub where it is right now. Option 2 is to move it in between of arms of the Negrelliho Viaduct. That's the new renovated railroad bridge. It's still central, still near metro, and it frees up development area space. Option 3 is to move it completely outside of the city center. Cheapest long-term solution, but highly controversial. Personally, I'm afraid it's a lot about politics. What would be the best is to move it, in my opinion, in between of the Negrelliho Viaduct. That will be an interesting use of the space, but realistically it might end up being moved completely outside. No project this big happens without controversies. First, developer versus city. Penta owns the land and drives the project. Critics say it's a private profit over public interest. And I understand that concern, but without a private developer stepping in, this brownfield likely sits here for another 15 to 20 years. The city simply doesn't have the speed or capital to do this alone. It's not perfect, but doing nothing would be worse. Second, gentrification. New apartments here will be expensive. When prices rise, surrounding rents often follow. And that's a real concern. But this specific site currently has very few residents. I mean, there is almost no residency same as in this building, meaning housing is being added, not replaced, and Prague desperately needs more supply. And third, the Magistrala, or the highway. It is staying. They plan to humanize it, add some improvements and make it visually more appealing, but the traffic and noise remains. Tearing it down and moving it somewhere else would cost billions and cause delays for years, and I can't imagine the city without the Magistrala at the moment. The project works with reality, not with fantasy. And finally, the railway brownfield, which is right next to Masarykovo nádraží, and it sat empty for decades, while Prague kept growing around it. The result? Karlín struggles to connect to Nové Město without crossing traffic chaos. You have to literally walk through McDonald's to get from Karlín to Nové Město. There's no real public space, no green areas, no reason to stay here unless you really have to. Luckily, all is about to change. Overall, every major urban project has some trades-off. This one fixes a serious planning issue, but it won't please everyone. Let's talk about what this means for the surrounding districts. Karlín is already one of Prague's strongest neighborhoods. This project removes one of the last physical barriers and connects it more directly to the central Prague. Long term, that strengthens its position even further. Northern Nové Město near Florenc likely benefits the most. Streets currently discounted because of chaos could look very different once this area transforms. For investors, this is the zone to watch. And Žižkov benefits indirectly through improved pedestrian routes, not dramatic, but positive. And the connectivity and the overall feeling going from Žižkov down to Karlín or Nové Město will be a completely different experience. From 2028 to 2031, that area will be a construction zone. Noise, dust, blocked streets, and let's be honest, for a few years it's going to feel like in a not nice area overall. But long-term upside is short-term pain. If you're buying, make sure your time horizon covers the chaos. If you're selling, timing matters. Before construction, during it, or after completion can mean very different outcomes, so plan your purchase or sale accordingly. Speaking of timeline, until now, the developer and the city gathered a lot of proposals from the architectural point of view. 2026 is the big decision about the bus station, 2027 final permits and the final architecture look must be selected by then, and 2028 is start of construction. And 29 to 2030, that's the peak of construction. 2031, planned completion, assuming typical Prague delays don't extend it. If you live nearby, plan accordingly. Short-term disruption, but yeah, in long run, this area will uplift tremendously. Projects like this shape the city for the next decades. If you're living anywhere in Prague, and especially in those districts, you should know what this will mean for you, how it will impact the neighborhood, and what exactly will change. My name is Robin. I help foreigners with understanding the Czech real estate, how the development looks like, and what it means for buying, selling, or investing into real estate. Thank you and see you in the next video.